All right, welcome to today's episode, and I want us to consider a very, very beautiful story in the book of Luke, Luke chapter 19. I'll read from here. Then Jesus entered and passed through Jericho. Now behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector, and he was rich, and he sought to see who Jesus was, but could not because of the crowd, for he was of short stature. So he ran ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was going to pass that way. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him and said to him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must stay at your house. So he made haste and came down and received him joyfully. I will stop here. The Bible said that Jesus entered and was going to pass through Jericho, and somehow the news got to the man called Zacchaeus, and I'm sure Zacchaeus must have been hearing about Jesus, and Zacchaeus wanted to see who Jesus was. Like I said, it's very possible that Zacchaeus must have been hearing about Jesus, but Zacchaeus didn't just want to hear about him. Zacchaeus wanted to see him for who he was. Zacchaeus wanted to know him for who he was, not just what people had said about him, not just what he had heard people say about him. He wanted to know for himself who Jesus was. But the Bible said that he had a barrier. He was short, and because he was short, he couldn't see who Jesus was, because of course the crowd was much, and because of this crowd, it will be difficult for a very short person to have been able to find his way to, seeing and meeting with Jesus. And because of this, he realized that if he stayed where he was, he wouldn't be able to see who Jesus was. And because he was driven by his desire to see who Jesus was, the Bible said that Zacchaeus ran ahead. Zacchaeus ran ahead of the crowd and climbed onto a sycamore tree. He climbed onto a sycamore tree so that he would be able to see who Jesus was. Every barrier that he had in that day was done away with the moment that he ran ahead and climbed onto the sycamore tree, because we saw that indeed he did see Jesus. And I want us to look at this very beautiful picture, that his stature that was a limitation was no longer a limitation the moment he climbed onto the sycamore tree. His desire to meet with Jesus was actually met when he climbed onto the sycamore tree. And we need to be like the sycamore tree. We need to be like that sycamore tree to people. We need to be the kinds of persons. We need to be the kind of people that those who are seeking to see Jesus, those who are seeking to know who Jesus is, those who are seeking to know Jesus for who Jesus is, can climb onto us and actually meet with him, can climb onto us and actually see Jesus for who he is. People might have heard what people are saying about Jesus, but there are people who actually want to meet with Jesus, who actually want to know Jesus. We need to ensure that they can climb onto us to actually meet with Jesus. They can climb onto us to actually see Jesus for who he is. That it doesn't matter what their barrier is in that day. If they meet with us, they will meet with Jesus. It doesn't matter what their barrier is. It doesn't matter what has kept them from actually seeing Jesus for who he is. That if these people meet with us, they will see Jesus. And I want you to, for a second, look at your life. I want you to, for a second, consider yourself. Are you the kind of person that people can meet and meet with Jesus? That if people meet with you, if people climb onto you, will they meet with Jesus? If the answer is no, you need to begin to rethink your followership. You need to begin to rethink how your life choices. What have you been doing with your life? So much so that people cannot climb onto you to see Jesus, and yet you are a professing believer. It should not be heard amongst our ranks that we are people that profess to be believers, yet people cannot meet with our God when they climb onto us. In fact, people cannot even climb onto us to meet with Jesus. We need to be so low. We need to be so down to earth in the sense that we need to be at the reach of people. We need to be reachable to the people that wants to meet with Jesus, that wants to see who Jesus was. In that day, or who Jesus is rather, pardon me, it was not hard for Zacchaeus to climb onto the sycamore tree. It wasn't hard, regardless of his stature. It didn't matter. He was able to climb onto the sycamore tree. This is a very beautiful picture. I'm saying to us that it doesn't matter what the barrier is in the person's life. It doesn't matter what has kept the person from seeing Jesus. If the person meets with us, they should be able to see Jesus. They should be able to meet with Jesus. The Bible says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." I'm saying that when people meet with us, they should be able to meet with Jesus. They should be able to meet with Jesus. It doesn't matter whether the problem is a word problem, it doesn't matter whether the problem is a power problem. Christ is both the wisdom and the power of God. We should be competent enough to bring Jesus to people wherever they may be. The question I want to leave you with today is, if people meet with you, if people climb onto you, will they meet with Jesus? If somebody in your environment, if somebody in your class, if somebody at your place of work is seeking to see who Jesus is, can he run ahead to climb onto you? Will you come to his mind to say, if I'm seeking to know who Jesus is, I can go and meet this person? Or you are the kind of believer that people are in doubt as to whether you are saved or not? Think about it. Am I the kind of person that people can climb onto and meet with Jesus? The Lord bless you.